Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Everyone, we'll be starting a SOVA Talk session in a minute.
बाकीचा एवढंच फोटो येते शोधते फोटो कुठला चांगले का टाकायला क्लोजअप मारलेले
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the introductory session of SOVA Talks 2022. SOVA Talks is a series planned by MITWPU School of Visual Arts. According to the tradition of MITWPU, they start this SOVA Talk introductory session with World Peace Prayer.
वेद प्रतिपाद्या ॐ नमो जीयाद्या वेद प्रतिपाद्या जय जय स्वसंवेद्या आत्मरूपा देवा तूचि गणेषु सकलार्थमतिप्रकाशु म्हणे निवृत्तिदासु अवधारि गोदी गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
Dear students, teachers, and parents, let me take you to a mini virtual tour of MIT World Peace University. MIT World Peace University is known to be among top education institutes in India since the establishment of MIT Group of Institutes in 1983. MITWPU has witnessed a rapid growth, and at any given point in time, more than 50,000 students are pursuing various courses across 65 plus institutes of MITWPU World Peace University. It's a privilege to be studying in such a mature environment. Now, I'd like to introduce to our head of school, School of Visual Arts, Dr. Shruti Nigulkar, a multifaceted personality and a learned academician. She has a diverse experience in the industry and has mentored a lot of innovation projects. We are fortunate to have her as our head. I'll request Dr. Shruti Nigulkar to address our guests. Over to you, Shruti, ma'am.
Thank you, Amisha. I hope I'm audible. Okay, so whoever is attending from Zoom, as well as those who are seeing us on Facebook, I will like to welcome you all for this special series of sessions that we are offering. This is called SOVA Talks. And today we have our very own Assistant Professor Soumitra Sir, who is going to talk about a program, BFA Applied Arts, MFA Applied Arts, and he's going to talk about one of the areas that is part of these programs. All right, so it's going to be very interesting, I'm telling you, because he's going to talk about visualization, visual design, and visual thinking all together, which is a part of these very awesome two programs called as BFA Applied Art at the degree level and MFA Applied Arts at the master's level. Of course, everybody probably knows now that MIT World Peace University, which is housed in the centrally located Kothurud campus, is offering these two very coveted programs. And these programs, we are very happy that we are now having our first batch graduate. And we are very excited because, you know, after completing this graduation, there are many types of professional opportunities that are available to the professionals that graduate. And it's such a program which can give you opportunities in diverse kind of fields. For example, somebody wants to do their career in, say, photography as a professional. Yes, you can do it after this program. If somebody wants to do a career in, say, illustration or visualization, or even for that matter, user interface design, user experience design, these career options open. Also, careers like packaging design, animation design, advertising, all these open up immediately after this BFA program. And why it happens is because this is where the art of communicating is enhanced. You become an expert in visual communication. You become expert in visual literacy, and sensitive towards that aspect. But at the same time, you are also becoming a graphic designer, and this is a merging point where visual art and visual design come together. So I will not take much time, because I know everybody is excited and looking forward to listen from our very talented assistant professor, Soumitra Kemkar sir. So I'm going to hand it back over to Amisha to take this forward. Thank you, Amisha.
Thank you so much for that prescient address, ma'am. Now I'd like to invite our beloved faculty, Assistant Professor Pallavi Rajwade ma'am, to introduce the resource person for today.
Thank you so much, dear Amisha. It's my privilege to introduce my colleague and resource person for today, SOVA Talks 2022 introductory session, Mr. Soumitra Kemkar sir. A designer by profession and an artist by passion, Soumitra sir is a perfectionist and always strives to be the best at everything he does. He is inspired by minimalism. He believes a balance of critical thinking, visual aesthetics with artistic, empathetic, and sensitive nature makes him a good designer. He is equally passionate about Indian classical music and is currently pursuing masters in Indian classical music as well. An animal lover and admirers of memes, as today's generation is fond of, let me hand over the session to Soumitra sir. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Pallavi ma'am. Good afternoon to everybody present here. Dr. Shruti Nigodkar ma'am, our HOS and our inspiration, my co-faculties, my students, and anybody who is here for listening to this SOA talk on art and design. So I wholeheartedly welcome you. And without failing to mention, I would like to mention that I'm really blessed to be a part of the first inaugural session for SOVA Talks 2022. And I really thank Shruti ma'am for giving me this opportunity and thinking that I am worthy of doing this. So whatever little I have learned from my experience of a couple of years, I will try to present to all of you. So with your permission, I will begin my session.
Yes,
So,
please.
thank you, ma'am. So I will share a screen and I have made a couple of slides. So let me know if this is visible. So good afternoon, everybody. My topic today I'm going to speak about is visual arts and design thinking, like Shruti ma'am just introduced. And so here I am. I am an assistant professor at MIT World Peace University School of Visual Arts in Kothur, Pune. And Pallavi ma'am has been very generous and kind in giving my very flattering introduction. So I am going to skip this part and move on to the topic. So as a faculty, I like to ask a lot of questions. And my first question is that what is art and what is design? There is no right or wrong answer. And this is from my understanding. Another question here that always if I find myself inquisitive about is art and design the same? If it is, then how? And if not, how is it different? So let me take you to what I feel what is art and design. So I'm sure some of you have seen this painting, some of you are seeing this now. One meant six, which is an abstract painting by Barnett Newman, which was sold on a Tuesday in the month of May 14th, 2013, for a whopping $43.8 million. Can you imagine the kind of price that this painting has fetched? And when I see this painting, I ask myself, what is it? This blue color, this amazing royal blue color, and what exactly did this artist do to get sold at this amazing price? Somehow I do not find the one correct answer. Maybe in a couple of slides I'll be able to find it. I'm sure some of you might have seen this on Twitter or on Instagram or on the cover of the New York Post. It's a ripe banana duct taped to a wall, all in the name of art. If you have not seen this, you might have at least seen or heard your friends talking about it. So this piece of display is an exhibit by a renowned Italian artist, Maurizio Cattelan, at Art Basel Miami Beach. And the piece was titled Comedian, and it was sold for another 6 million. It was sold for another 1200 million. And so this artist is also famous for the 18 karat toilet, which was stolen from the Blindham Palace earlier that year. And it just asks questions as to what exactly did the people who bought this amazing pieces of art, or so to say, these pieces of art, and how did they find it amazing? Let us see if we can find a few answers. Let us see if I can give them to you. This is what I feel how art and design are related. Like I said, that blue painting, it is to be admired. Art is to be admired, whereas design has a job to do. If I give you blue color, and if I ask you which brands have a blue color to their palette, you'll probably come up with Nokia, probably come up with Cognizant, probably some more brands, Microsoft, so many more. So that blue color, when it is used for something, it has an identity. Whereas if you paint a beautiful wall blue, you will just look at it and find it peaceful, find it harmonious, find it very soothing and calming. That is art. Art is fluid and design is structured. So uh, basically, in my opinion, art is very expressive. Art expresses what a person is feeling, and art expresses what a person might have experienced, and the art is actually an expression of sharing that feeling or emotion with everybody. Whereas in my opinion, design is more like creating something for somebody so that they can use it, so that they can have a very peaceful life or a very problem free life. Like I said, what about that blue color was so expensive? So art sparks discussion. Art asks questions, whereas design shows the rationale and design creates solutions. Art can be stimulating and design can be motivating. At this point, I always ask my students, how many of you are chai people and how many of you are coffee? And I always I'm met with a 50-50 scenario wherein some people they identify with, oh, definitely a chai person. 3:30 is the most time. I'm sure all of you can also have an amazing cup of tea while enjoying this session about art and design, while some of you might not be able to even start your day without a fresh cup of freshly brewed coffee. It might not be a very vague generalization to say, but I find that artists are more different towards chai and designers prefer coffee. There might be exceptions, and then there could be a hybrids like me who like both. Like I said, art is expressive and design, whereas very contrastingly, is functional. Design is meant to work. Design has to have some objective, some aim, some purpose, whereas art is subjective. Whereas what blue color talks to me, blue, I find the blue color very cool, cooling, comforting, soothing. Somebody else might find it very aggressive. Somebody else might find it very depressing. So art is subjective. Everybody can have their own interpretation and their own expression through art. And last and not the least, art can be design and design can also be art. So moving on, art and design are the two sides of the same coin. Art and design, they go hand in hand. One is inseparable from the other, and there are areas in which both of them come together and wonderfully create beautiful designs, artistic designs. Art and design are incomplete without each other. This is what I have experienced from my past learning. So a little bit about my background is that I have completed my BFA Applied Arts in uh, 2016, and then I pursued my Masters of Design. So it was a very nice and warm experience for me to switch from art to design. And then now I'm here back at School of Visual Arts, wherein I'm teaching both. And I would love to explain what is design now, because there are so many definitions of design. There are so many ways in we day-to-day lives, we use the word design very casually. I don't like the design of this dress. Are you wearing that designer sari? Is that a design label? Is that Manish Malhotra's design label? I don't like the design of this app. What is this design? Ye kaisa design hai? We use this very often, but we most of the times we don't know what design is. And secondly, why should we learn design? As the famous scientist Albert Einstein and a physicist, of course, had said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. So, what is exactly that Albert Einstein is talking about? Design is it can be defined as a fight against ugliness and chaotic disorder. Design is a process to change an existing situation to a preferred situation. This line has been quoted from the famous designer Herbert Simon. And design is a chance to make the world a better place to live. What Einstein meant was to make the world a better place to live. There are so many problems that we face in the world today. There is a problem of global warming. There's a problem of deforestation. There's a problem of overpopulation. There's a problem of information explosion and bombardment. There is a problem of nuclear war. So many more problems. So instead of creating more problems, we as designers have this wonderful gift wherein we can solve these problems and we can make the world a better place to live. How do you solve this problem? By using design. Design, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the what design is, what it is not. In fact, nothing is not design, everything is design. Design is a process and it is an ongoing one forever. You can't pinpoint it, this is where I start design and this is now it's complete. No, design always keeps on going. Design is creativity. Creativity, if you ask me, is creating something new, creating something that did not exist before. Design is, like we just said, it's problem solving. I will add that design is creatively solving a problem or finding solutions. Design is a balance of the left and right hemispheres of the brain. We all know that we say that right brain people are more creative, left brain are very logical, technical, analytical. Whereas, like my Pallavi ma'am just mentioned in the bio that she read, I feel that design requires you to be aesthetic, to be creative, to be expressive, as well as very critical, analytical, and logical thinkers. If you identify with any of these, I think design is the one key area where you should be looking forward to work. Ah, design is invisible. Is it though? At least good design is invisible. If a design is bad, it will definitely be visible. Design is functional. It works. Design is purposeful. That is why it works. Anything you do with a purpose, why am I doing it? If you ask yourself and you know the answer, you're designing it already. And lastly, design is a philosophy. You can't start design and you can't stop design. And once you start thinking, how can I solve a problem? How can I use my creativity to solve this problem? How can I make something work? This process gets going and it never stops. It becomes a part of your life and it becomes your philosophy of working. Design is a way of life. So let me share something about design thinking and visual arts from whatever I have understood. So design thinking is a process that was so-called coined by a designer called Tim Brown when he was working with a lot of people from the management, from the technical sectors, wherein they were creating a lot of solutions, but they did not know exactly how to aesthetically or maybe more creatively put it together. So design thinking was a process that was started. It is a movement and it has been vastly applied in a lot of areas. A lot of companies which provide software products, platforms as software, PaaS, SaaS, a lot of companies which work in the artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things today. All these are very hot topics of the day. Bitcurrency, cryptocurrency, NFTs, all of them, they follow this process. So what is exactly design thinking? Can you think design? Can you design thinking? Can you design the process of thinking? This is exactly what design thinking means. Design thinking is simply put a process. This process, like you see in this diagram, is infinitely going on and on. It is not a linear process. Ek step kiya, next, next, next. It's not like that. You might start with ideation. You might go to testing. You might feel that nahi, nahi, ye to galat hai. I should define it properly. You go to define. So this process is non-linear and what we call it as iterative. Iterative basically means it keeps on changing. You keep going back and you keep on editing it again and again and till you are satisfied with the outcome. So design thinking can be applied. I feel that somebody is unmuted. So can I request you to please mute yourself? Um, Mr. Ashish, yeah, thank you so much. So back to design thinking. Coming to where I will speak more about design thinking when I tell you about a few opportunities in what exactly are we doing in design thinking. I would like to talk about BFA Applied Arts and MFA Applied Arts with emphasis on research. So like Shruti ma'am informed us, these are the two very coveted programs which are offered at the School of Visual Arts and at MIT World Peace University. And design. I am talking about arts, I'm talking about visual arts. I am from an school which provides education in visual arts. And then why am I talking about design? What, how, when, how, what exactly, and why? So let me answer all of these questions. Art, when it is put into use, is called as applied art. Art, when applied for problem solving, is called applied arts. And if you are solving problems by applying your knowledge, that is nothing but design. So this is what it means. And this is why we at MIT, we at BFA and MFA, we endorse arts and application of art for designing purpose. I will answer questions maybe at the end of all the slides. So we will definitely have an interactive give and take of knowledge, and I will definitely have your answers. You can put them in the chat box until we come to that point. So as a visual arts student or as a visual designer, these are few of the many areas that you would be working in. But all of these areas, if you see, have the term design, graphic design, visual communication design, information design, brand design, publication design, user experience and user interface design, interaction design, space and event design. Some of the few things that I did not mention here because there are so many areas include typography design, photography design, include illustration design. It includes advertising design and voice and tone design and so on and so forth. The opportunities are infinite. And as a part of my specialization, I will speak a little bit about user experience design and user interface design. So if you just Google any of these, you will find these beautiful images. And this is exactly what we do. And it's not just beautiful images, it's also the work or the solutions that are creating solutions for problems that are faced in the society. So for example, graphic design helps you create visuals such as brand logo or a symbol or an icon. So if you visit an airport and if you find yourself looking for where is the security check, you will look for a sign. This is where graphic design works. Visual communication, on the other hand, anything that you say, anything a person says to other person can be called as communication. And this communication, if it is designed properly, designed as in if it is arranged properly, if it is thought through properly, it is called as visual communication design if visuals are a part of it. We are a part of a huge information society. We have information explosion from all sides. We get updates on WhatsApp, from InShots, from Instagram, from Twitter, from Google, and then your phone also keeps sending you notifications and so on and so forth. So much information. But imagine this bombardment of information if it was chaotic. So as designers, it is our role to design this information so that when you read that information, you get something from it, you understand it, you can use it for something. We will have a few more sessions in the same series of SOVA Talks, wherein my colleagues and all the industry guests will speak about branding publication. So I will spare these topics and I'll quickly move on to my expertise, which is interaction design and UI UX design. UX is a very huge umbrella under which a lot of titles come in. Interface designer, interaction designer, gestures designer, user research, web designer, mobile application designer, developer, prototyping, designing, ideation, so many words. This is a diagram of how the different terms and different roles in the UX industry overlap. It is done by Jasper Stephenson, and these are the titles in a kind of a timeline, how a typical project works. So you usually start with research about user. So user is anybody who will be using whatever we are going to design. It may be an application, it might be a website, it might be a kiosk, it might be a brochure, it could be anything. Anything that can be used by a person, that person will be called a user. So we need to know about that user. If you saw the design thinking process, usually what we call as the first step in design thinking is called as empathizing. Empathizing means feeling what a next person might be feeling their pain, feeling their problems, and feeling them as if they were your own. So as designers with our very sensitive nature, we can fit into the roles or the shoes of a user and empathize with the user. This is a very crucial step in your UX or user research. So user research will give you an idea of what exactly are you doing, for whom are you designing, and what are you designing. What is it that you're creating in that application that is going to make that life of that user easier? After the UX, we come up with the entire information of, okay, this is what the user wants. How are we going to give that to him? So we design features and we design, products and services for them to use. For example, I was so hungry one day, I did not want to cook food. What can I do? I don't want to go out and eat. I don't want to step out of my house. Bingo, I have Zomato, I have Swiggy, I have Uber Eats. I have so many applications at my disposal on this small device. I just click a button, I order food, and I get home delivery. What an amazing product and what an amazing design. It just solved my problem. This is what UX does. And we as designers, this is what we do. We look at a problem a user might be facing and we create a solution for it. That's it. There is a process of how this solution will be created. This is the process we call as the user experience design. So we know what we are solving. We identify all the things that we need to create in a application or a website. We put it together and we make it look beautiful. And not just beautiful, it should also work. So this is where I'm talking about the visual aspect of UI UX design, which is the user interface. Interface is like a mirror or a window between you, a user, and a machine or a product or any application for that matter. Nowadays, any screen can be called as an interface. We open our eyes in the morning, the first thing that we see is the phone. किसने notifications भेजे, किसने message किया. We open our laptop, we see what emails have I got. We open our TV and we play the latest news or we play the latest MTV songs. We check our watch, आज मेरे कितने steps हुए. All of these, we are surrounded by screens. All of these screens are designed by us designers. Interaction, I click, I tap, I scroll, I pinch, I double click, I swipe right, I swipe left, I swipe top. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Interaction. I am interacting with a screen. What is behind that screen? A machine. This process of designing these interactions, it's what we call as interaction design. I will quickly move to the next part of UI design. So as visual art students, we here emphasize on developing the visual sensitivity, the visual aesthetics and visual skills which are required to make a particular any design look good. Of course, because the look and feel of it, the colors, the icons, the amazing symbols, the diagrams, the illustrations is what is the first thing that a user is going to see. So visual design is everything that has to do with all these things I've mentioned here. Is the visual strategy. What colors am I going to use? Is this a medical application? Okay, so a doctor might be, more identifiable with a green color or a red color. Oh, is this a banking and finance application that I'm designing? Okay, then blue looks good because the blue is most trustworthy and neutral. And since we are dealing with money, use blue. I am designing something for music like Spotify. Let me use a very fresh, vibrant neon green or a purple and a magenta. So visual strategy is basically wherein you decide and you have all the power to decide how will a design look. Grid, very important. You should know the rules before you start breaking. So that still comes in a very advanced part of design. But grids are basically the system of how things are arranged, very simply put. Hierarchy is basically you decide what is important, what is not important. What is that one tab that I need to put at the last? And this one chart that needs to go on the front. This is the most important screen. This is the most important button. You decide what is the hierarchy. Like I said, information design. Information, when you ask a person, what is your phone number? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. This is how the person tells a number. This 1 2 3 4 5 6. This chunking creates it easier. It makes it easier for you to remember. This is exactly what we do in information chunking. We group information together, which is easier to understand. Like I said, palette, brand palette. So the colors which are already used, if I design an application by Zomato in green color, nobody's going to use it because Zomato, as we all know, uses red. YouTube uses red. There was a case study wherein eBay, the famous e-commerce website, they decided to change their entire yellow, either backdrop of the entire window to yellow, and their sales dropped because people were not used to seeing eBay yellow. They felt, "अरे ये तो pirate लगता है, अरे मैं गलत link पे आ गया शायद that." That's what happens when you do not decide how you want to change a particular design or how you want to select colors. And then gradually they had to remove 100% yellow, 99% yellow, 98%, 97, एक percent for over 100 days to get back to the normal white so that they did not lose 100% more of their sales. So palette is very important. Somebody just asked me, is typography a part of design? Very much. Typography is all the text that you see. Just for your information, this is Roboto that I'm using here. And is it readable? Is it understandable? Can you separate between the letters? Can you identify different words correctly? Yes, that's what typography teaches you to do. Iconography, illustrations, micro interactions, motion graphics. So I will be delighted to tell you more about all of these fields. Uh, for now, I will move on to the next part. So if you want to pursue design, these are a few resources which you must read. These are a few books that all designers should read. The Design of Everyday Things. So for your information, Don Norman is the person or the legend who coined the term user experience. And he's also the person who has written this beautiful book, The Design of Everyday Things. And it is one insightful outlook into how some products can satisfy their customers while others only frustrate them. So Don Norman is a cognitive scientist and a usability engineer, and he talks about how communication between objects and users happen, and how design is, the way to make that communication smooth. This is another very beautiful book. I spoke about design is creativity. So there is a misconception that only design and art can be done by creative types. So these are the two people, the founders of IDEO, a beautiful and a huge famous design agency, global at a global level. The creators, David Kelly and Tom Kelly, the two brothers, they give us this book called Creative Types, which tells us that anybody can be creative. And how do you harness your creativity? How do you know that you're creative? How do you use the creativity? Do read this book. Next book is Edward de Bono's Lateral Thinking. Lateral thinking is basically answering the question, why do some people always have new ideas where some others who might be just equally intelligent don't? So basically, it depends on how you're thinking. It depends on how are you approaching a particular problem. So this book will definitely give you an insight. And as a designer, this will also help you think of how exactly are you thinking? How can you be more productive? Another book from the same author is Simplicity. Like I said, I'm a fan of minimalism, and minimalism says less is more. I would say just enough is good design. No more, no less. And this book will tell you that simplification is really a very complex thing to do. If you know all the things that you need to know, you can simplify anything. I hope that from whatever experience that I have tried to make design a little easy for you, or at least created a spark in you. Another design is The Laws of Simplicity by John Maida, who is a professor at MIT, Massachusetts Media Lab, uh, which is located in the US. And he has given 10 laws of simplicity for anybody who wishes to do design, maybe it business, technology, or design or art. And then again, this one is more like an informative booklet. It is the design dictionary. Now, this dictionary, I'll tell you one fun thing. A lot of designers from different countries, maybe Germany, maybe Japan, maybe Russia, India, Brazil, US, so many countries, they came together and they collaborated, on this book, and it gives you the definitions of anything and everything that you want to know about design. Some of these books might be available at Crossword. Some of these might be available online on Google Books. You can definitely go and check out on these. I will try to post the name of some of them in the chat box after the chat so that you can take a look. And it's a very practical book. It is very academic and very leisurely in nature if you would like to go through one by one page. And as designers, I always say, watch movies. Go and watch movies. There is so much of knowledge out there. Be it Andy Warhol, be it the Helvetica, be it the minimalism, be it urbanized, be it there are so many of these objectified. Dieter Rams, be it product design, be it visual communication design, be it graphic design, be it film, illustration, animation, there is infinite material out there which we should be consuming. Movies to sab dekhte hain, but do watch these films about design and of design. You will learn that there is so much to grasp. Imagine having a professor who asks you to watch movies on the weekend. Oh, forget weekend. I ask my students to watch movies in the class also. We sometimes do have a screening of one of the movies. We sometimes have a trailer, and I ask them to do homework. We have review sessions. We have group discussions about what did you learn from the movie? What did you enjoy? What exactly was the most different part about it? So there is infinite scope, and with this, I am going to end my short talk, and I would like to thank you. And I would like to hand it over to Amisha and Pallavi ma'am for moderation, and I'm open to questions that might be there so that we can all answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Soumitra sir. That was like a very crisp and brief introduction to the world of design and aesthetics, because it's like an ocean. We are just getting a few drops of it in a very little while. So I had asked in the chat box that if there are any questions, you may post them in the chat box. We are also Facebook Live right now. So if you want to post any questions on the live session, I have shared some of our links to our school. You may post if there are any questions. We will wait for half a minute to a minute. Otherwise, we will proceed. Till then, till that time, if Dr. Shruti ma'am wants to say something, I would like to invite her.
I will like to thank Soumitra sir for giving this very insightful talk, the first one under SOVA Talks that the school is offering. And I'm sure that many viewers, many who are interested, in this field, who are curious about this field, will be able to benefit from your talk, Soumitra sir. So thank you for making this possible and presenting this very interesting topic in front of everyone. And I will also like to actually thank the leadership at MIT World Peace University for giving us all these opportunities where we can reach in the society, where we can create the awareness about different professions, different opportunities that the students have through these online platforms. I would like to definitely thank our executive president, respected Shri Rahul B. Karad sir, for his support and inspiration in all these activities. I will also like to thank our director, Faculty of Design, Dr. Guru Prasad Rao sir, for his kind guidance in all our endeavors and helping us out in taking new directions like this one, where we are presenting our own faculty as part of the resource. And I will also like to thank our student fraternity, everybody who supports. This time it's Amisha. So thank you, Amisha, for being a part of these kind of talks. Of course, I'd like to thank Pallavi ma'am for uh, coordinating the whole SOVA talks and making this possible. So let's see if there are questions. Otherwise, we can move towards the end. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So as ma'am said that we are going to have more sessions, keep watching our Facebook page and you will get the updates. Stay connected with either of the faculties or students and you will know more about these talks. So I'm going to hand it over to Amisha to get towards the end now. Okay, so I think there is a question I would like to address. So it's from Jayanti Bhattacharya. Let me see. So she asks, if design is solve our problem, why it needs to create a dependent people?
I would like to ask if Jayanti can come and unmute herself, and you can ask us exactly, in your words. So,
Hello.
hello.
Yes. Sorry for interrupting. Sir, actually मुझे ये पूछना है अगर
Jayanti, can you hold your mic a little closer so that we can hear you?
आता है तो उसके डिजाइन किए हमने तो उनके रिगार्डिंग वो फिल्टरेशन के एडॉप्शन हम लोग हो गए लेकिन अभी वो डिजाइन ऐसे किए कि इसका फिल्टर को रेगुलर चेंज करना पड़ता है सो ये एक ऐसे प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करता है कि रेगुलर अर्निंग एक प्रोसीजर क्रिएट करता है ताकि ये बिजनेस स्ट्रेटेजी बने रहे तो इज इट गुड के डिजाइन बिजनेस स्ट्रेटेजी को रखे या उसको सॉल्व करे
Jayanti, I was not able to hear your problem completely, your question completely. I think there was some communication, there was a lag in the network or something. May I ask you to repeat once?
Yes, sir. If design solve problem, then the business person who want use the design and make step by step to require more dependent on their product and a chain procedure is going on so that they can earn continuation. Their earning is not going to stop over there. So is it good for good design or it is not helpful. Some people is suffering for by this also. My Paytm and other things also may create more problem. So design create problem is another way rather than solving. So what is the procedure should be that other people's also each and every people get the solution.
I think that's a very valid question, because designer should solve the problem of all people, not just a particular group. And about the business perspective, design should benefit the users as well as the business owner also, because when you're creating a design for a particular business, maybe say a business is about banking application, or it could be anything. So if I'm designing a product for your business, I am making it easier for your users to use your product so that they use it more. So it's giving you more business. There is something called as B2b and B2c, so business to customer and business to business, wherein there are so many areas or companies which work for other businesses, and you end up creating solutions. You end up creating SaaS products, PaaS products, like we say. And so like service as a platform as a service, or software as a service, or a product as a service. So these are all the technical terms, but eventually your users will grow if your experience, the experience that you're giving them, is good, it is smooth. Now when you spoke about Paytm or similar such applications, so in a way design solves more problems. It should solve more problem than it creates. And there are always two sides of a coin, and there is always positive whereas there is negative. So it might have affected a couple of user group, wherein Paytm gave them, the people who are very dependent upon cash flow. So Paytm or Google Pay or Beam or Taze or UPI, all of these kind of digitalize the entire process of economy and spending. But at the same time, it also created a very easier uh, to go solution for a lot more people. So it is always a balance of both, is what I feel. um, I hope that I have answered your question, to some extent at least. And yeah, I would like to ask if any other faculty wants to add anything.
So throughout these talks, we are going to have different guests who are going to address various topics which might be related to branding, marketing, advertising, other kind of design solutions, etc. So stay tuned for some of the next talks, and I'm sure your questions will be answered in a better manner. And Soumitra Sir has already explained it pretty well. So we will take another two questions. So we have Hitakshi who wants to ask something. Do you want to come on the video and ask, Hitakshi?
Ma'am, audio is fine.
All right, go ahead, Hitakshi.
Yes. So during the introduction, you said that art design has purpose. So I beg to differ. I think that art has a purpose too, because it can create awareness with what it portrays, like graffitis on the streets, or in auctions, artists can address the social evils, and that's how like art can create a movement. So even that has a purpose.
I think you have wonderfully said it. Um, I will really appreciate the one fact that it is always good to have your own opinion, and that means it is a good sign that you are a good artist and a good designer. So I will definitely congratulate you on that. And with your opinion, I would like to just piggyback and put my own opinion on, in the same line, is that if you are creating a purpose, you're creating art with a purpose, then isn't it design already? And like I said, you can't separate the two, design and art. There is no firm boundary कि यहाँ से art खत्म होता है, यहाँ से design शुरू होता है. It's always overlapping. And so if you're using your expression to help somebody, it can be called design. And if design is using, an expression of somebody, design can be called art. So art can be design and design can be art. So there are no right or wrong answers to this, but I will agree with you on this.
Okay, sir.
Okay, over to you, Amisha.
Yes, ma'am. It was indeed a great honor to listen to you, Soumitra Sir. As we come to the end of this introductory session, we'll conclude the session with Pasaran, which is a tradition of MITWPU.
With this, we will end this session. Thank you for attending, everyone.